right, let's get it going. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go! Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. It is 10 p.m. Thursday evening, and we are here live on Studio A. Yeah, you've waited all week for the most cutting-edge topics and guests, and now it is time to deliver. That's right, it's the Stephen D. Kelley Show with your host, Stephen D. Kelley.
Hello, everybody. All right, that was sorry for the rude noises. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show. My name is Stephen D. Kelley. Hope you can hear me okay. Sunday evening, let's see, 7:03. Sun still sunny out here on the West Coast. Interesting day because, and if any of you are noticing, there was a lot of weird energy going on, but I believe it was the summer solstice or something like that. And let's see, Kate Middleton had a baby yesterday, and I guess yesterday, of course, was the interesting day. It was the Feast of Beltane, which is a satanic high holy day of sorts, I suppose. Somebody will probably correct me. A pagan will say, no, that's not what it is. But either way, it was a dark day. It was also a Naked Gardening Day, if you're into that. Har. So I think that might kind of coincide with that whole outdoor summer solstice thing going on. Anyway, but and it was interesting also because some trolls, and I don't like to mention the trolls, but there's a few of them that are kind of notorious, and they pop their heads up. It's like, I guess in celebration of Beltane or whatever, the satanic ones, the dark little trolls come out and try to harass us, the light workers, if you will. So yeah, I saw the same old crap popping up on the Revolution Radio Facebook page. That person had to get banned, of course. It's amazing that particular person hadn't been banned. The other troll that's out, he'd been banned. At least 3 of his personas have been banned. But somehow this other one got missed. And if you listen to Revolution Radio, you know who I'm talking about, because he's a pretty vocal little troll who has been out there. But anyway, don't want to waste any time talking about trolls. Let's see. Again, this is Revolution Radio real quick, and we are 100% listener supported, so we do require donations from you. And I haven't looked to see where we're at donation-wise. You have to go to the chat page. Look at that. I avoid the chat because there's trolls that hang out in chat, and I don't need to be looking at trolls postings right before a show. But anyway, if you go to our main page at www.freedomslips.com, on the left side of the page, there will be some buttons, and one of them will be a blue button, and one of them will say donate. And that's where you go to use your PayPal, your credit card, or get information to send money to Revolution Radio. And anything helps. If you were to send $1 a month, it would be something. If everybody listening sent $1 a month, my God, we would have $1 million a month. Easily. So probably a heck of a lot more than that, to be honest with you, because we do actually get a lot of listeners every day. Yeah. So wouldn't that be something, huh? Yeah. Wow. Anyway. Okay. Now tonight's show. Obviously, when I do a program, I try to I put thought into it. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. I don't kill myself to come up with a subject matter, but I do try to come up with things that are inspired, that I think are important, that moves us in a direction. Last week we talked about Jade Helm and the conspiracies and various paranoia and what have you around that subject, and of course, it's a very thought-provoking, very controversial, inflammatory, whatever you want to call it. It's a sensitive issue. People definitely have a lot to say about it, and it's any time that we can do something like that, to address something like that is so interesting to people, and I mean affects all of us. It certainly is important. Like the water show we did recently, of course, is very important. But when we present the information, sometimes the information is distressing, and very often we're trying to point out corruption and darkness and evil, and often it's easy to get upset about these things, but it's also important that we provide some sort of a solution and some sort of an answer, and I like to try to obviously point people in a direction that's a little unconventional, spiritual, if you will, such as it is. Now, if you've listened to my shows, you'll know that a lot of the information I give out is somewhat redundant. Obviously, there's messages that I try to hammer home. The most obvious and fundamental message, of course, is service to others. Okay, and of course, that's an obvious and fundamental message because it's nothing less than the secret of the entire universe. I mean, it is. It is truly the secret of the entire universe. And all of the greatest humans that have walked the earth have come to this conclusion, at one time or another. That's usually what it makes them great, is they come to this conclusion and they begin to spread that information. But it really is quite simple. Service to others really is all there is to the entire world. Now, with the Jade Helm thing, of course, we're looking at urban warfare, naturally, and insurrection and all sorts of ugliness happening here at home in the domestic theater, if you will. And obviously, people, their first thing they think is, "I'm going to stop." I mean, we had a guy, a caller, who was saying, flee down to the southern hemisphere and stock up on guns and body armor and all that. Well, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. I mean, I certainly had my doomsday arsenal at one time. I don't anymore, but I did. I was the king of preppers, if that's what you consider being a prepper. But I don't do that anymore. I'm going to go with the flow. I mean, and I've learned a long time ago that the real power is somewhere else. It's not in a mechanical device you hold in your hand that uses organic material to create gas to push a piece of lead real fast at an enemy so you could poke holes in their body. That's, come on. That's kind of Stone Age. It's certainly not spiritual. But the thing is, so what are we talking about here? Well, euphemistically, I call this JEDI training. Okay. Because all of us, and I like to think that all of my listeners, to you guys, the trolls, I know you trolls are listening, James and your other Eugene, if you're listening. Yeah, I was talking about you, but anyway, that's the last time I'll mention you. Anyway, it's funny because it's like Howard Stern. So many people that listen to his show, they absolutely hate him, but they're still adding to the listeners. So yeah, you guys, you're just adding to the listenership. So you hang right in there. By the way, this is going to be a show where there's going to be a lot of information, and I'm going to want you to follow up and go back and Google stuff and do some research. And of course, I'm going to bring this up a couple times, but of course this is radio, so I don't have any pictures for you. I mean, and the information that I'm going to convey, or I'm going to try to convey, is it's pretty intense, and obviously a image, photo says 1,000 words, obviously. So, but I don't have the images. But you can certainly, if I give you some links and things, verbally, you can Google these things. You can do your own research, and who knows, maybe we can. I mean, obviously, in a best case scenario, I would be making my video. Unfortunately, I don't have the software anymore because my laptop died. But this would be one of those shows where it would be very conducive to images. But anyway, let me get into it. So, all right, so JEDI training, light worker training. What we're talking about is using the Force, using magic, using energy, using the energy of the universe, whatever you want to call it, chi, prana, orgone, etc., or and using this energy to manipulate your reality and the reality of people around you, and hopefully to make things better and to raise the vibration and to defeat the dark side. And that's what a Jedi warrior does. A Jedi warrior is somebody who has dedicated, and of course we're using a metaphor from a movie, but a Jedi warrior, of course, is a person who's dedicated their life selflessly to serve others and to help out. What, we raised $45? What are you talking about, Terry? Terry, what'd you say we raised $45? What are you talking about?
Well, that's you said you didn't know what the amount was in chat, and so
only
far
$45? Oh my God!
Well, I mean, it is May 3rd. I mean, it is like the second day, but it's still
Oh,
not
okay,
super great. I would think
all
we
right,
have at least 100 by now.
all right. Well, yeah, but those numbers are always a day behind anyway. So, see, this is why I don't pay any attention to those numbers. But if you guys want to help out Revolution Radio, please do. Then it's our job to ask you to do that. I got to take a drink of my tea here. I'm watching my tea melt. I've got this big giant thing of tea, and by the end of the show, it's going to be all melted. The ice will be melted. It's like, I didn't drink it. Sorry. People complain because, I've got this vessel. It's about 48 ounces. It's huge, and this is what I drink my iced tea out of. So you hear the ice clinking. It sounds like an echo, or something, because it's in the side of this big, huge glass chamber, and the microphone's practically inside the chamber when I'm drinking. All right, back to Reiki. Okay, so anyway, so we're trying to teach everybody how to do magic, right? I mean, ultimately, my goal here, professionally and as a human, is to. All right, well, let's put it this way. I wanted originally I wanted to fight the dark side. Okay, I thought, okay, I'm going to raise an army and we're going to go to the JEDI, and we're going to force our way inside there, and we're going to get down underground, and we're going to root out those guys, and we're going to use the power of light to do this. Okay, and that's not something that's completely out of the question per se, far-fetched, but I realized that if it ever does get done, it isn't going to be done with weapons, and it's not going to be done where you're actually going to be hurt. Nobody's going to get hurt. It's like, even though those guys they have humans defending these facilities, it's like we don't want to hurt those humans. We just want the light to go down there and to root out the evil. Ecclesiastics, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but rather against darkness and high places. I guess I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially the motto that I try to refer to out of the Bible. But anyway, so again, the human brain and your spiritual power, if you decide, that you, first of all, the first thing that you want to do, this Jedi training per se, what we're talking about. And this is key. Obviously, this is the first step. I mean, just Star Wars is a perfect example of this. But you're going to have to be one side or the other. You're going to be a good guy or a bad guy. That's it. And when you do this, there's no two sides. There's no sitting in the middle of the fence. You're clearly on one side or the other. And you could look at this in terms of percentages. And you say, oh, this guy's 100% bad, this guy's 100% good. It doesn't work that way. You could be 49% good and 51% bad, but you're still bad. You're still screwed. Okay, if you're over, just even slightly over 50% one way, that's it. So all these people that think, yeah, I'm going to live for myself and YOLO and all that crap, and they want to, they're all about themselves. They're consumers, and they're totally into this, like an American lifestyle. The American society epitomizes this whole service to self concept. So you've got to avoid that. But even if you're, like I said, even if you're 50-50, you go to church on Sunday and you think you're generally a good person, if you're even slightly on the wrong side of the scale, it's too much. You're screwed. You got to strive every day to be as far as you can over into the service to others side of the coin. All right, that is rule number one. And I don't expect anyone to be able to measure it, and I don't expect anyone to be able to achieve 100%. It's very simple. All you have to do is be 51% or better service to others versus service to self, all right? And don't worry about it, because you will get back. The universe will give to you, and those people that you are serving will turn around and they will give to you. Okay, but that's rule number one. That is rule number one, period. So now Reiki, of course, and ultimately that's what we're talking about tonight, is was developed in Japan by Dr. Mikao Usi. We call him Master Usi. And he was just this Japanese guy, early 1900s, that came up with this concept of using human energy for the purposes of healing, or using the intuition and what have you. I mean, we could use all sorts of names to describe what it is, but rather than do that, just kind of think in general terms of what's actually happening. Okay, now one of the things, and this is, I may be trying to teach you Reiki, but the reality is I'm trying to teach you moving energy, because it doesn't matter what the so-called modality, I hate that word. If you use that word modality, please stop. But this is just a modality. But basically, it doesn't matter what modality you're using, it's all the same thing. If you're in China, they could call it Qi. If you're in India, they're going to call it prana. If you're a Viking, you're going to call it Odin force. If you're Wilhelm Reich, you're going to call it orgone. Hell, I don't know. If you're a Catholic, you're going to call it grace. See, so that, right? Give me grace. Yeah, that's what the Catholics ask for. That's what that is. It's chi, give me energy. That's what it is. It's give me power, make me glow. All right. So what is this? So again, just real quick, by choosing to be a light warrior, and by choosing to be a Jedi, again, this is something that you have to ask for. This is something that you have to want, and this is something that you have to dedicate your life to. All right, this is not a casual thing that you just like, oh, that's cool, yeah, I'm going to put that on like a shirt. No, this is your whole life becomes dedicated to this. This becomes your philosophy and your reason for living. Okay, so a lot of people out there that are, they're on Facebook and they're posting their cop block links, and they're, activists for Occupy or Anonymous or whatever, and they think they're light warriors. They've done whatever. They've gone to a few teepees or what smoke-ins or who knows what, but they think they're light warriors. Okay, what we're talking about here, this is a real light warrior. What we're talking about, a Jedi. And a lot of people out there, they think they're Jedis, and I tell them, if you want to be a Jedi, act like a Jedi. So what we're doing right now is we're teaching you how to act like a Jedi, and we're going to give you some tools. And I'm going to try to get to because I know everybody's anxious to learn something here, but I'm trying to spread this out as much as I can. Again, the Reiki, and I'm first of all, a Reiki course typically, when you study Reiki, and you become a Reiki master, and you learn how to use this technique for healing. Okay, I was a healer a long time before I ever took Reiki, and I really didn't like the Reiki thing, because I thought somebody could pay money to sit in a class, and then at the end of the class they get a piece of paper, and then that piece of paper declares that person is suddenly a healer. I mean, come on, it doesn't really work that way. You either are or you aren't. But and just because you sat in a course and paid somebody some money doesn't mean that you've been imbued with magical powers, although that's exactly what the course is all about, is imbuing people with magical powers. Now, assuming that you believe it's possible to do that, you have to also realize is that you actually have to be there in order for this to be done. Okay, so now if you would like to become a Reiki master, I think it's a good thing to do, but you certainly have to find a good teacher. Obviously, I teach Reiki. If somebody's somewhere near me in Southern California, I'd be more than happy to have you in put a class together and have you join. It'd be great, actually. But The thing is, though, is that an actual Reiki course is in 3 steps, level 1, level 2, and level 3. And you don't become a master until you complete level 3. And of course, there's other steps. It goes up to like level 6. Level 6 is pretty intense. It's more psychic, if anything. You're talking to spirits and things like that. But again, and psychic ability is really what this is too. When I say Jedi, and you're using the Jedi powers, mind powers, the Force, Chi, whatever. These are psychic powers, telekinesis, whatever you want to call it. It's powers that are psychic in nature, and every one of us have psychic abilities. Every one of us. I mean, you go to bed and you dream at night. You are using psychic abilities. You're entering the superconscious when you do that. So your pineal gland certainly has a lot to do with your ability to do that by creating the DMT and what have you. And the decalcification of your pineal gland, which is, of course, a gland in your brain, which is essentially where your third eye is, but it's also your antenna, is very important. You do need to do that. But basic Reiki, and it's kind of like exercises. If you think of like the energy and the ability to use energy is kind of like lifting weights, if you will. And the amount of energy that you can move is basically is like in a ratio to like your strength in your spiritual strength, or the amount of chi that you can have flowing through your body because of the way that you've got your channels and your chakras and everything set up. Again, I'm throwing out a lot of words, and we'll get to it. But okay, back to the Reiki thing. Again, your typical Reiki course is going to be anywhere from $150, I don't know, $75, $150 and upwards. I've seen people charge quite a bit for a single course. And again, you got to do this 3 times. And typically, you take one course, you wait 30 days, and you take another course. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now, and of course, you have to do this in person. You can't, if you see these things online, people say they're going to try to teach you Reiki, become a Reiki master, and they're telling you could do this online or with a book. Forget it. That's snake oil. Forget it. Even if you don't believe Reiki in the first place, you can't learn Reiki online. And the reason is because for the most part, even though Reiki is very powerful and it does allow you to use energy without being anywhere near the person you're working on, at the same time, it's traditionally a very hands-on modus. And when I say hands-on, you don't actually have to touch the person, but usually your hands are somewhere close by. And I'll describe that, the reason how that works, because in healing, there's actually about 3 different ways, at least, that your energy and your chi and your sine wave, your signature, if you will, affects another person and helps to heal them or recalibrate their signal. And I'll try to get into all these things. I mean, we could do this every week. We could have an actual try to do Reiki course. But again, like I said, I will cover what I can without pictures and without drawings and what have you, and hands-on work, but there are things that I'm going to want you to write down and go forward with. But okay, and so like in a Reiki level 1 course, okay, this would be Reiki 1. What would you learn? Typically, this is what I would teach. This is my course, actually. What I'm doing is I've got my course book that I use for my course. My course is, of course, different than everybody else's because it's got a little more physics and stuff in it, but you'd learn about the history of Reiki and Master Usi, and then the 5 Reiki principles. And this is very important. We're going to do the 5 Reiki principles right away. Then there's the nature of energy, of course, Chi, Prana, Orgone, Anu, Scalar, whatever you want to call it. Then there's the introduction to the chakra system, and we'll certainly talk about that. And then basic energy moving, giving and receiving, obviously. That's a sort of a hands-on thing because you need to feel it. When you're interacting with another human and you're trying to detect their energy or their field, it's actually going to be like a magnetic field, and you want to become sensitive to these feelings in your hands. And also the other thing is that it's very much visualization is involved. So when you're doing healing in anything, the ability to use your brain and to basically imagine an image of something in your thoughts, be it a person or a part of a person's body that you're working on, perhaps. This is the sort, or even an action, like for instance, moving energy. You have to use your imagination. You have to visualize it actually moving, and it's that act of visualization which actually causes it to move, because it's you're willing it through your brain to actually do that. And that's the key word. Key word here is intention. So in the modern Western term for what we're talking about here is healing with intention. Okay. Now, the other thing about Reiki that's very important is there's symbols involved. And what I'll do tonight is I will give out the names for the various symbols. And what you can do is you can go ahead and Google those names, pardon me, and then look those up. In fact, what you can do is actually print them out. That's what you do. Go on Google, and we'll actually have you print these symbols out. And I'll explain how the symbols work and what they do and why they do what they do. But if you want to practice and play with the Reiki, you'd start with the symbols. Okay, so we'll get to that. Okay. All right, let's see. What else do we talk about? We talk about the nature of crystals. Now, of course, I've talked about crystals quite a bit. And so, again, that gets redundant. But, we use crystals like quartz crystals and rose quartz and various different crystals, or tourmaline, black tourmaline. Various different crystals are very popular in healing and making orgonite and cleansing and all this sort of stuff. But as like we discussed on our water show, we talked about the hydrogen bonds of the H2O and how it creates a tetrahedral, yeah, I think it's tetrahedral structure. Gosh. And that structure is what channels energy and creates this little spiral helix. And again, the helix or the vortex, again, is very important. So these words will keep coming up over and over again. I also talked about the guys like, well, when you talk about those guys, that sort of thing, right away you get into Tesla, you get into Wilhelm Reich, you get into Schauberger. It's like that show the other night where I had the guy on, he was supposed to be a water guru, and he never heard of Wilhelm Reich or Schauberger. How can you be a water guru if you've never heard of Wilhelm Reich and Schauberger? Come on, Anyway. Let's see, and then of course there's a lot of hand positions in Reiki and those things, but those are the sort of things you have to really learn on hands-on. Literally hands-on. Typically in a Reiki course, you'll have the instructor will have a table or two, a couple tables, massage tables, and students will take turns laying on the table to receive the Reiki treatment. And so if you are going to go out and become a practitioner, you would actually want to invest in such a thing, and you would treat these people directly like that. But now if you're going to do that, it's also useful to learn other modes, like, for instance, reflexology is excellent. Reflexology uses basically it's rubbing the hands and rubbing the feet, but the hands and feet, of course, have zones which are directly corresponding to various organs in the body. And it's amazing because when you're doing Reiki or any kind of a healing type of thing, you're looking to detect these issues as well as treat these issues. And, with Reiki, of course, obviously a person's laying there, you're passing your hands over the body, and you detect it as your hand passes over the area of the body that's having issues. You will actually detect it. You'll feel an anomaly. The temperature might feel really warm. Typically, that's what you're going to feel. You could have your hand maybe 4 inches away from the person, but you'll detect a warm spot, and that's your clue that there's something wrong right there. It never fails. Now, with reflexology, of course, it's also amazing. You could take somebody's foot, for example, a bare foot, and you rub it. You basically use your thumb, and you kind of push or just kind of give a little light rub, and each little quadrant of the foot, each little section quadrant represents a different area of the body. But as you do that, you detect something different, and what it feels like are like crystals under the skin, almost like there's a little sand or something down there. It's actually crystals, uric acid or something of this nature that builds up, but they actually will build up in an area that is directly related or corresponding to another section of the body. It's amazing. And like, for instance, the tips of your fingers, the very, very tips, like tip of your thumb especially, is directly related to your head and your headache, and then you go down. So the lower extremities of your body would be like the very bottom of your hand towards your palm. So anyway, but there's lots of charts out there, so I recommend, if you're interested, look at the reflexology charts. And again, why is this important? Well, again, we're trying to help others. Okay, now you want to save the world, you want to become a Jedi, you want to increase your chi, right? That is the bottom line. You want to increase your chi flow. That means that you want to have more energy flowing through you, and you want to have more energy coming out of you that you can direct and control. So when you are helping, the number one rule of being able to do this in the first place is start serving others. Okay, so if you're serving others, what better way to serve others than to heal them and to help them and give them energy through Reiki? So, bottom line, this is a wonderful catch-22. Is that the more energy you give to other people to help those people and to heal them, the stronger your energy will become, and the more energy you will have to help other people. Okay, this is really cool, and the thing is it really works. And I'll tell you, maybe some of the people out there that are listening tonight that I've done Reiki on, you guys can call in. You can you can if you want, tell the listeners your experience, and if it was successful, or what it was like when you got treated. If I treated you and something got better, you can tell us about that, because it's pretty dramatic. But anyway, again, Reiki is just one tool. It's one way to do it. So by helping you guys, by giving you some of these, getting you started on the path of learning Reiki, you will get onto this path of serving others, and you will start increasing your energy, and you will get stronger and stronger and stronger every day. But again, and lest I get ahead of myself, again, back to the very, very first square. When you make that decision that you want to serve, okay, now obviously I'm Christian. If you know me, you'll know that I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus. Everything that I do is based on that. However, I still have an open mind, and I know I'm not going to do what some idiot in a black robe and a collar tells me. Okay, but the thing is, though, is that to me, when I interact with the Creator, I do it through Jesus. Now, whether that's, yes, sure, that could be considered Christian, but even from a metaphysical standpoint, even pagans who are strictly metaphysical in nature, if they know anything about metaphysics and they know anything about how the things work in the universe, they will also know that Jesus Christ, aka Sonata, or whatever it is they call him in those circles, is the galactic commander, and he has the sole job. The only of all, he is of the ascended masters. Not only is he the head, but he's also the one that has the job of being the liaison from us to the Creator. So now what does that mean? That means is like, if you want the Creator to hear your prayers, you have to direct them through Jesus. And it's not because you're Christian, it's because that's his job. It's just the way it is. It's just, so yeah, if you want your mail to get routed properly, you need to go through the proper channels, and the universe is set up to where if you want to get direct contact with the Creator, you got to go through Jesus. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry if that's people, this has nothing to do with the religion, okay? This is much, much older than any man-made religion. But okay, that's just me, okay? But so anyway, the point is that way back when I decided that I wanted to go in this path and I wanted to do my job and do my part, and I had to ask, and I said, I'm ready, let me serve that purpose. Give me that job, give me the power to perform that job, and protect me while I do it. So I asked for permission to be a warrior, to be a light warrior. I asked for protection, and I asked for all the tools and power that I need to fulfill that job. Okay, so right away, this is not like I said, this is not a casual thing. You have to make that decision. It's like devoting your life to God, if you will. And I'm trying to be religious here, but that's essentially, if you want to devote your life to serving others, to the side of light versus the dark side, because this is what it is. Serving others, having a life devoted to serving others, is the opposite of the dark side. Okay, it is unconditional love. It is the good guys. This is what we do. So this is why we're doing it, and this is why we're going to talk about Reiki, because Reiki is a philosophical approach to it's a lifestyle which will allow you to adopt it's a great tool to use to develop your Jedi skills and allow you to dedicate your life to fighting the dark side. Okay, so I'm assuming from here on out that everybody listening has decided that they would like to dedicate themselves to fighting the dark side, and that this is for real. Okay, so here we go. Well, as far as the history of Reiki, again, I don't really want to go into that too much, but just suffice it to say that, again, it was invented by this guy, Dr. Masui, Dr. Mikao Usi. Some people don't know if he was a doctor or not, and they're saying, well, this guy's a Buddhist, that's not a good thing. There's a lot of Christians who are going to bash it. I will address those issues here shortly. But again, what he invented here is no more than something that's been around probably for a million years. He just gave it new names and did, so the thing is don't get caught up on the culture or the Asian aspects or the Buddhist aspects of any of this, because that's irrelevant. What matters is that these are the intentions. Okay, so by using these symbols and by going through these procedures, you are agreeing to transmit those intentions, because you agree that these symbols have the intentions attached to them. So we'll get to them. All right. So here are the 5 Reiki principles. All right. Now again, this could apply to anything. Obviously, you can. This is nothing unique, but this is what Dr. Usi did. Anyway, okay, Reiki, principle number 1, just for today, I will not be angry. All right, angers at others or oneself or at the whole world creates a serious blockage of your energy, your chi flow. Okay, it's the most complex enemies, and this is really important, because if you're trying to make your chi flow, which is really what this is all about, you can't be angry. And if you're going to heal someone and help somebody, you can't be angry and help someone. It's like cooking. You cannot cook a delicious meal if you're angry, because your venom is going to go right into that food. Your dark energy is going to go right into that food, and it's not going to work out. You've got to have love. Okay, and if you're angry, you're not having love. So you can't have that. Now, Reiki is an excellent tool for removing anger blockages, which have accumulated in the body over years. Now, we're talking about the person we're treating, of course. And anger blockages could be other sorts of blockages too, not necessarily anger. We'll talk about that when we talk about chakras, but very often people repress all sorts of issues, and these issues they manifest and become physical. It's incredible, and it's in the different parts of the body certainly are affected by this. And anger definitely will affect you. It'll affect your heart chakra. Heartbreak will affect your heart chakra. Lack of sex affects your root chakra. There's all kinds of silly things like that. Not being able to express yourself affects your throat chakra. I run into that a lot with women. When I'm working on women, a lot of times I'll find they've got severe blockages in either their throat chakra because they're being told to shut up and they're not, they're holding back and not saying things they want to say. They got blockages in their heart chakras, clearly, people, they're not getting the love or whatever they need, and it's, and when the heart chakra gets opened up after severe blockages, watch out, because the emotion just pours out. And more than once I've done this, opened up a heart chakra on somebody and had about a half hour of them crying afterwards. So it's very powerful. Okay, so you got to let go of anger, and you got to bring peace of mind. And Ken, I'm going to go off this for a second because I want to bring up something else. And this is really important. Everybody that's listening, I want you to remember this because it's very important. But that which makes you calm is good. All right? Being able to achieve calmness is very important. All right? You've got people outside of you that are stressing you out. Your work, your job, the money you owe, whatever, it's stressing you out. That is going to kill your calm. It's going to kill your buzz, and you can't do this. You cannot move chi. You cannot help people. You can't do any of that unless you can become calm, or, as I say sometimes, ambivalent. The calm is important. So if smoking a cigarette makes you calm, if that's what it takes to make you calm, screw it. Do it. Smoking a joint, if it makes you calm, opens your mind, lets you sit there and, daydream, do it. It's good for you. I don't care what it is. Well, obviously, as long as it's not hurting someone else, it's beating someone else makes you feel good. No, that's not acceptable. Okay, Reiki principle number 2. Reiki principle number 2 is yes, Terry's mentioning her jaw. Yeah, I did some Reiki on Terry's jaw. She had some. Okay, Terry, you could talk about your jaw in a little bit. You could tell people about when I treated your jaw and how it felt and all that. But let's save that for a little bit later in the show. So hang on. Okay, Reiki principle number 2. Just for today, I will not worry. Okay. So the first one is just for today, I will not be angry. Reiki principle number 2 is just for today, I will not worry. Okay, anger deals with past and present events or future ones. Now, it's not always negative, right? It's like sometimes it's just stress. It's stress because, you've got a party or something you've got to do, your responsibilities or a big event you've got to be ready for or something, whatever. It doesn't have to be horrible and negative, but whatever it is, it's filling your mind. It's stressful. Could be a baseball game. You're worried that my Angels are going to lose. Oh, the Dodgers are going to beat the Angels. Oh, my Red Sox. Oh, whatever, stupid thing. It's filling your head with crap that's causing you stress, that's screwing with your chi flow because you're not calm. Okay? So it's a negative phenomena. Do not allow it to fill your head. They will bore holes in your body and soul. Now, while anger requires a focused Reiki treatment to remove obstacles, worry requires the energy to be spread throughout the entire body. So you have to let go of the worry to begin healing your body. All right? So this is really, really important, and this is something that's very important. So, but again, these 5 Reiki principles right here, this is your Jedi training right here. Okay? You've got to follow these principles, all right? So you really got to listen to what I'm saying here, because no matter what, everything else we go by, you got to start with this, because if you are not doing this, none of it matters. Okay? And I'll tell you, I've seen courses, Reiki courses, where people went through the entire course without pushing the Reiki principles. And if you have not, that's the thing. It's like the piece of paper does not make you a Reiki master. It's adopting the principles to your life. Because if you do not do that, you physically will not be able to do it. It's like eating McDonald's and thinking you're going to be Mr. Olympia. It ain't going to happen. You got to make changes. So this is it. Okay. So let go of worry. Okay? Past, present, and future. Whatever happened yesterday, years ago, it's over. Those guys, my mom didn't love me. Forget it. It's over. It's gone. The present, today, somebody's pissing you off. You're having road rage. You're driving on the street. Crap. Somebody's like, ooh, that idiot pulled in front of me. Oh my God. You can let the idiot pull in front of you completely stop your chi flow? Let it go. Do not stress out. Remain calm. Mortgage. Oh, I can't. How could I possibly worry about saving the world when don't know if I'm gonna have my job tomorrow, and I gotta pay my bills, and oh my gosh, that my rent's gonna go up next week, and what am I gonna do? Turn off your TV. All right. So there you go. None of that. You can't do any of that. You cannot stress about the future. You cannot stress about today, and you cannot stress about the past. You gotta let it all go, and you gotta be calm. All right. That's number one. These are things that you gotta do. Okay, Reiki principle number 3. Again, very important. Just for today, I will be grateful. Be grateful from your heart inward. Inner intention is the most important element in this principle. Okay, this is loving yourself now. Simple things as thanks, forgiveness, a smile, good words, gratitude can often improve others' lives and make them happy. So being thankful brings joy to the spirit, all right? So in other words, what does that mean? Another way of looking at this is like there's more joy in giving to others and serving others and making someone else happy. It's like Christmas, obviously. I'm sure those of you who have children, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like it's watching the kids get all happy when they get their stuff is the whole purpose. It means a lot more than whatever you got. It's knowing that you made them happy. That's what it's all about. And that's what makes you feel good. And I think that a lot of people, to illustrate this another way, is that this is sort of epitomizes the entire concept of service to others. And that is that true happiness comes through service to others. True happiness comes from doing something for somebody else that you know can never pay you back. All right? And we're going to get to that because that's an incredibly important aspect of this entire training. Okay? But when you are serving somebody, when you are trying to do this service to others, do not think that, well, gee, if I'm going to help this guy out because later on he might come along and help me. No, it does not work that way. You are giving it a gift. It's a gift. You are not wanting compensation. Same thing with psychic skill. You got psychics out there, they're charging money for a psychic reading. Run away. Don't pay for it. You don't pay for a gift. You don't sell a gift. God did not give you a gift so that you could take it and sell it and make money. It's not what it's for. This is for helping other people. It's not for making you rich. If somebody wants to give you money, if you guys want to help me out, yeah, okay, yeah, you guys can help me out. Let me see. My PayPal is StephenKelley714@gmail.com. There. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, okay, so that's what that is. All right. Gosh, you should buy my book too. Yeah. Let me see. Buy my book. It's what is it? Oh yeah, Cities Under the Plane on Amazon Kindle. All right, Cities Under the Plane. Oh, I'm poor. I haven't made any money off that book, and I gotta tell you guys though, I actually whatever money I made on the book in the last few months, I gave it away. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't really want to tell you, but I think you guys are going to think it's terrible if I told you that. But yeah, I actually gave it away. Okay. Okay. Reiki principle number 4. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Okay. All right. Support yourself and your family respectably without harming others. Earn a respectable living. Live a life of honor. Working honestly brings abundance to the soul. Okay. Well, let's think about that for a second. Let's see, a respectable living without harming others. Let's see. What kind of a job could you have that harms others? Oh, I don't know. Let's see, police officer? Yeah, that. Oh, I don't know. I got it. How about working for Boeing or Lockheed or Raytheon or I don't know, any of those companies that are a part of the military industrial complex that are, feeding death. I know I have this conversation a lot. We're talking about the jet, the F-35 fighter jet. How many millions of Americans are working, making little itty-bitty gadgets that go into making that damn jet? And they are all hoping to hell that those contracts are going to go on forever because they like that overtime. That is not living honorably. Okay? This is why I left my business. I did not want to be in the laser business anymore because the only facet of the industry that I could make any money in, because the Chinese had taken over everything, was the damn killing people part. And that was what I was really good at, was the making stuff for killing people. And that's not honorable. And when 9/11 came along and all of a sudden they wanted to spend billions of dollars on buying stuff to kill people, I had to get out of that. I wasn't going to, I had to change my timeline, and that's what I did. So you can't be a shyster and then come home or go to church. I mean, I know these guys, like these military guys, are just evil. And they think, and then they go to these mega churches, like these stupid mega churches in Texas, and they give a bunch of money. They take some of their ill-gotten loot and they give it to these churches, and they think suddenly they're righteous. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. All right, last one. Rule number 5, Reiki principle number 5. Just for today, I will be kind to every living thing. Honor your parents, honor your teachers, honor your elders. Being kind brings love into the will. All right, obviously, what does that mean? That's unconditional love. All right, you have to have unconditional love for everything. Now, this is one of the harder principles, but it is a principle that's really, really important. And that is that if you want to be a Jedi, if you want to be a light worker, you have to, you are an individual, but what's really happening when you become able to understand the concept of unconditional love, you've also learned that as children of the Creator, we are all part of the Creator, and we are essentially all the same person. Okay, so there's our break. I hear music popping up. Okay. Listen, guys, don't go away. Everybody, I'm going to mute, and I'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll talk some more, and we'll get into some really good stuff. So don't go away, all right? And you can call in. I'll give you out a number, and if you want to call in, you can call in. But just stay there. We'll be back in 4 or 5 minutes.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Imagine. Just imagine.
Imagine a world
where every child and adult will have the opportunity to achieve their dreams.
I believe my inspiration is the answer.
My inspiration is the greatest light.
The greatest energy.
It was born when the universe was sparked into life.
It's within everything.
My inspiration transforms pain into happiness.
And failure into success.
My inspiration inspires lives.
It inspires lives.
It inspires human lives.
My inspiration is always shining like the sun.
But it doesn't mean that it's alive.
For centuries, my inspiration was in prison.
In prison.
In prison.
It doesn't belong there.
Its home is to be known to all people.
My inspiration is in trouble.
We are fighting for its life right now.
Right this moment.
This moment.
Millions all over the world want to go beyond their limitations.
Liberate their dreams and reach success. The failure of us all to be someone
is the biggest disease
of all time.
Each day our brothers and sisters die. Please help us to birth this inspiration to life.
And that will stop this disease.
Help us get the word out of our inspiration.
Help us.
Help us.
It's our shared belief for a better future beyond the horizon. Let's write the future.
Heroism is here.
Stand up and grasp it.
Stand up.
Stand up and grasp it.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up for the dreams of all people.
This is Nighthawk from Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now is your time to stand up and make a difference or fade away. Fade.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Stephen D. Kelley Show, Revolution Radio, www.freedomslips.com. Still Sunday night. It's 8:02 here on California. We are doing JEDI 101, which is basically an introduction to Reiki, and we're talking about human energy. We just got through spending the last hour going through the 5 Reiki principles and discussing the whole purpose of why we're doing this and some of the sacrifices that need to be made in order to do this. And I want to address that real quick before I get back into the next step. After the 5 Reiki principles, I'm going to talk about the 9 abilities. And the 9 abilities are what you have to do in order to develop your psychic skill, which is the same thing. I mean, it's not exactly Reiki, but developing your psychic skill, your chi flow is really what this is all about. So, but again, I need to address this first because there was some basically a response to the Reiki principle number 4, which is just for today, I will do my work honestly. Support yourself and your family respectfully without harming others. Okay, this is important. This is real important, all right? And this is going to be real difficult for a lot of people out there who are working in the United States, who have jobs in the United States, working for companies and institutions that are harming people, because that is the nature of capitalism. Capitalism means you're taking the money. You're screwing somebody to take the money. That's capitalism. I'm sorry. So one way or the other, you're going to be screwing somebody. It's just the way it is. But obviously, there are some fields that you know damn well are worse than others. All right. If you're working, like for instance, if you're in a boiler room taking phone calls trying to scam people for credit rating nonsense, and you're sticking there, you're charging them and surreptitiously and things like that. There's all kinds of businesses like that. Well, you know damn well that your boss is a slime bag and that what you're doing is unscrupulous, but you're still doing it because you're hard up and you need to pay your bills. Lots of other jobs. I mean, I don't want to say, I'm not making a judgment, but let's say you're a prostitute or a stripper or you're a bouncer, you're beating up people or who knows what. You're doing something distasteful that you don't feel good about, but you're hard up and you don't know what else to do. Well, the answer is, and shall I quote, if you work within this economic paradigm, that it's very challenging. Yes, it is very challenging, but if you want to be a Jedi, you have to act like a Jedi. All right, I say that so often. You want to be a Jedi, act like a Jedi. You want to be a monk, you got to be a monk. You want to be a kung fu master, you got to be, you just got to do it. You can't. You're not going to be service to self consumer out there. 47-inch flat screen TV, new car on the driveway, whatever, new clothes, nice jewelry, whatever stupid thing, keeping up with the, taking your vacations. You know what? It is better to be a bum on the corner begging than to be working in a business that hurts other people, but it helps you live comfortably. And all you people out there that are working in the defense industry, and I don't care what it is, I mean, because I know I worked in many companies where we made some itty-bitty little tiny part, and it looks really benign, like no big deal, but you know what? It's killing people. Even Sony, people think, oh, Japan has got a constitution, you're not going to be involved in warfare, but you know what? Sony makes cameras, and cameras are being purchased by Israel, and they're sticking them in missiles, and they're killing Palestinians. And you know what? Sony, You're responsible for those Palestinians getting killed because you sold the cameras that went into those missiles. And don't act like, oh, well, I didn't know what they're going to use it for, so it's okay. No, bull. Doesn't work that way. You are responsible for knowing these things. Just like this information we're talking about right now. You look at Buddhist, one of the things, the concept of the Falun Gong, which is another group of the Buddhist, is forbearance. Is very important. Honesty, compassion, and forbearance. Those are their three things, I believe. Honesty, compassion, and forbearance. That's all they care. And what is forbearance? Forbearance means that ignorance is no excuse. You are responsible to go out and learn what you need to learn to be educated, to be enlightened. And that's another aspect of what we're talking about. You want to be a Jedi warrior is you need to be enlightened, and being enlightened means that you have to be aware of the good, the bad, and the ugly. You cannot think that I'm going to be a spiritual warrior, but I'm not going to give any energy to the dark side, and I don't care about those bad things, and I'm not going to learn anything about any of that because I don't. Negativity makes me feel bad, and well, you know what? It's information. There's no such thing as good information or bad information. It's data. It's damn data. It's information. You have to record every bit of it. If you want to be enlightened, that means that you need to suck up every little bit of information. You have to be a sponge, which brings us to another point. But you have to become an observer. You have to observe every information. You have to open yourself up. You have to relearn. You have to go back and relearn and start over. And that applies to everything. That applies to history, the history of the world. You want to go back and relearn the history of the world. You want to go back and relearn the histories of religion and spirituality. All these things. And then the concepts of aliens and whatnot. You got to open your mind up to that. You have to, the craziest ideas that you could possibly imagine, you have to process and record and store away all that information. And it doesn't have to be believed, but that's the point. Good, bad, or otherwise. Even like, for instance, studying religion. If you want to study religion, you can't say, well, I'm not going to study, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to avoid that Jewish stuff. I don't want to learn any Hebrew stuff. No, you have to learn the Hebrew too. Oh, well, what about that satanic Bible and all this stuff? That's dark and evil. I certainly don't want to read any of that. No, guess what? You got to read that too. It's information. Oh, well, how about pagan mythology? Gee, what could possibly be gained from learning pagan mythology? Well, yeah, that's history. So you know what? Enlightenment requires that you learn all of it. Okay, every single bit of it. You don't have to believe any of it, but you have to record it away. You have to be a sponge. So that's very, very important. So when you're out there, like for instance, when you're out there having a chat and someone tells you something, says something to you, and you go, oh, I think that's wrong. I think that person's wrong. I don't believe that for a second. Where does this person, you got to prove it to me. That idea that person's saying, that's really crazy. How could they say that? Where's the proof? Prove it to me. Well, first of all, the world does not owe you proof. And just because somebody provides you information, it doesn't mean you have to have an emotional attachment to that information one way or the other. You have to be able to absorb that information without attaching emotion to it. Very, very important. And by avoiding emotional attachment to information, it allows you to do all these other things better. For instance, unconditional love. If you, for instance, like me personally, I used to get very upset about what the Israelis were doing in Palestine. I'd be extremely upset. And I'm not talking today. I mean, I'm talking, years ago. Obviously, they've been doing that stuff for a long time, but it used to just piss me off. And, and I realized this concept of unconditional love required that I loved that Israeli soldier as much as I loved that Palestinian victim, and then turn it around. I'd also have to, by the same token, love a Hezbollah fighter as much as I loved IDF or whatever. In other words, we're all equal. And as far as individuality is concerned, you come to the realization that other person he's not just some hunk of meat that's some individual over there that has no connection to you. It is you. It is you, because that is the nature of reality. If you remove time from the entire concept, then you realize is that we each take turns being each other. And when we're looking out at the world through our eyes, it's because you're taking your turn in that body. But it's not you, it's the creator. That's how God does what God does. So anyway, think about that for a second. All right, now I'm going to get into the 9 abilities. But before I do, I'm going to give out the phone number here. Okay, the normal Studio A calling number is 347-688-2902. And of course, the Skype is Freedom, or I'm sorry, that's Terry's Skype. The Skype is, oh yeah, that's right, Freedom Screen, right? Freedom Screen. Wow, that's crazy, Terry. I just realized that. Okay, the Skype for the radio station, Studio A, is Freedom Screen, one word. And then Terry, Joyce's contact, which is the producer, she's producing the show, so you have to connect to her. You can't call Stephen Kelley and expect to get through. Hers is Freedom of Joyce, I believe, is her Skype. Anyway, okay, so 347-688-2902. And I got to tell you something. I can see right now that we're going to have to do this probably more times. All right, this is what before I go any further, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to ask you, the listeners, this is what you got to do for me. If you like this content, if you want me to try to go through all this to the Reiki stuff, and if you want me to do a series on Reiki, and I'm talking multiple shows because it would have to be multiple shows, I need some feedback. I want you guys to write to me. You either send me an email or whatever, law17gun@aol.com. Send me an email there, or connect me on Facebook, whatever. I want some feedback. Say, yeah, do more. Because otherwise I'll go off and do the next big thing I need to do. But I can tell you right now, we're not going to get through this very fast because I'm chattering too much. And it's difficult. We're trying to cram a lifetime of, knowledge into a couple hours here. It's kind of ridiculous to even think that we could do it. All right, the 9 abilities. Okay, number 1, self-control. All right, keep in mind the initial condition to nurture any psychic ability is to be untainted. Okay? As an element to enhance psychic ability, self-control implies being able to protect yourself from the influence of others. Well, that means not being emotionally, influence others. They don't get you mad. It means your emotions are not being affected. If others give you information, you do not allow that information to affect you emotionally. You do not attach emotions to information. Okay. By nature, everyone is pure in body, mind, and spirit, and heart. However, all that has changed as time has passed because of all the destructive influences that we're subjected to. Destructive influences, okay? How about the TV and the news and the crap of the newspaper and the crap that they bombard us with, all right? That negative crap. Turn it off. Get rid of the TV. Stop reading the magazines. Stop reading the newspaper. You should only be listening to Revolution Radio. But seriously, rule number 1, and I can't say this enough, turn off the damn TV. People in chat want more Reiki? Okay, guys, I'll do more Reiki. But seriously though, show's only halfway through here. We're barely scratching the surface. I want continuous feedback. All right. Okay, so in other words, self-control, all right? Control yourself. That could be another way of saying remain calm, all right? Calm, remember? Calmness is good. Rule number 1, get calm. Do not get angry. Do not let your emotions get affected by people around you. Get calm. Be calm. All right? Achieve calmness. All right? Be pure. All right, rule number 2, humility. The discovery of any psychic ability is enhanced by the enthusiasm to learn and express understanding, as well as pursuing the well-being of others and giving to the environment by being an exceptional example while remaining humble. Okay? Humility. Humble. That's another word for ego, but let's not confuse ego issues with lack of humility. Okay? Humble. All right? Just because I'm great doesn't mean I have to push in everybody's face. Sorry, I'm kidding. All right? That's called sarcasm. Anyway. Very important, okay? You got to be humble. You go out of your way to do things. It's like another example. You're doing great things. And this is like a parable out of the Bible. You don't stand in front of the church and tell everybody all the great work that you did and tell them about all the money that you're going to donate. No, that's not how it works. You stand in the back and you do your donation quietly, and you do not say anything, and you do not look for that praise. You remain humble. Okay. Number 3, unconditional love. Very important. Psychic gifts should be put to good use to help others without wanting anything in return. There it is again. Help others without any expectation of compensation. This stuff is so simple. You guys want to be Jedi. This is it, step by step. I hope you're listening. Okay. And again, psychic gifts should be put to good use. It's like you're a psychic. You're not paying somebody $800. You're not Sylvia Brown charging $800 for 30 minutes of psychic consultation. Come on. We don't do that. I don't charge people money to heal them. If you're hurting and you call me up and you say, help me, okay, what's your Visa? Here's my PayPal. I'll let you know when the money's come through, and then I'll send you some Reiki. Give me a break. Now, if I help you and you're like, wow, that was really something, I want to, send him some love or whatever. Hey, we love getting a little love. Who doesn't, right? But anyway, you don't expect it. No expectation of compensation. If you get compensated, cool. Take it and be thankful. But do not expect it. All right? Very, very important. Okay, rule number 4. Calmness and focus. Okay? In other words, you must exhibit grace under pressure. You always need to keep cool and focused, and you maintain an open mind so that you can get in touch with your inner psychic gifts, okay? It's almost like rule number 1, but there it is. Calmness. Get calm. In Buddhism and that meditation, whatever, it's all getting calm. You've got to get calm. Find a quiet corner, whatever. Get away from the noises, the people that bother you, the stress. Get rid of the damn cell phone. Turn off the TV. Go out in nature. Sit down. Get calm. Relax. Open your mind. That's what it's all about. Okay? Open your mind. Very, very important. Get calm and open your mind. And that applies to all information. Okay? All right. Rule number 5. And this is important, and it's going to be a very hard one for a lot of people. But it's really, really important. All right. Non-attachment. Do not get attached to any material possession. Okay? To fully unlock your true psychic power and your abilities, your intentions must always be pure. Okay? In other words, you're not doing it for money. You're doing it to help. You're not doing it because it's good for your ego, because you want to get famous, or because, everybody's going to send you money, or you're going to be on TV and whatever stupid thing. You're going to get the girl. Women are going to dig you. Whatever. That's not what it's all about. Okay? And by the same token, and this is that whole thing about worrying and forgetting about the past and what have you. Somebody ripped you off. Somebody stole your home. Somebody took all your possessions. Let it go. You're going to forget about it. You're not attached. Just like you're not attached. It's like my car. I had a really cool little sports car, and the mechanic, he didn't think I was taking good enough care of it. He said, "What's the matter? Don't you love your car?" I'm thinking, "What do you mean? What are you saying?" I'm just like, well, "It's a car." It's like, it's a car. Sure, it's a great, nice car. I like it. I love it, whatever. But it's like, no, it's not like It doesn't own me. It's just a possession. Okay, number 6. This is important. Wow, all these are important. Number 6. This is really important though, because this is really what it's all about. When you're doing your psychic, when you're doing psychic work, you're using intuition. Okay, you're developing your intuition. As you know, everyone has intuition. They say, oh yes, a woman's intuition, or a cop's intuition, or we all use intuition. And what is intuition? It's that idea. It's like, for instance, when you're guessing something, somebody's like, gee, where would so-and-so go? That first little idea that comes into your head, that's your intuition right there. And that's the first, that's usually the right one. But when you're being a psychic and you're using your skill to help somebody to answer questions and whatnot, for instance, you're using your intuition, but at the same time, let's say if I'm doing a reading for somebody, a tarot reading, for instance, if I know that person and I've got some background information, I know a little bit about that person's life and all that, people go, oh, well, you're cheating because you already know about that person. Well, no, I'm not. It's not cheating at all. You're still using your intuition and you're using your information. And if you've got information on that person already, that's more information that you've got to use. So you use all the information you can get. Okay? So that's intuition. So you need to learn to trust your intuition. Let me repeat that. Trust in your intuition. Believe in your instincts. You want to be a psychic, this is what you do. You trust in your intuition. You believe in your instincts. That is exactly what a psychic is. That is what you are doing when you are being a psychic, is you are intuiting. You are using intuition. That's what we do. Okay? So you have to listen. You get that calm. You get calm. You get rid of all that crap in your head. You drive around with a radio in your car. You want to train to be a Jedi? Turn off the damn radio. Don't listen to music. You know what? One of the worst ways to fill your head with crap is to listen to popular music. All right? Especially with lyrics. All right? Now, if you want to listen to classical, whatever, that's good. That's high vibration stuff. That's good for your body. But when you're listening to a show with some rapper, some person singing a song with lyrics, I don't care what it is, Beatles, Lady Gaga, whatever, you get that crap in your head. You start repeating that crap. You're wasting brain space on lyrics. Seriously, it's like when you're driving in your car, your brain should be all over the world. It should be working. You are meditating. That is the most wonderful time to just sit there and let your mind flow and open your brain to the universe, because you're in autopilot anyway. All right? So you got to get rid of that noise. All right? Turn off the radio. Turn off the TV. Seriously, turn off the radio and turn off the TV. Get rid of it. You don't need it. All right. Self-knowledge. Okay. Number 7 is self-knowledge. Now, again, this is building on tuition, of course, but self-knowledge, very important. Okay, proper meditation is the secret to understand yourself better. All right? Remember, no one knows more than you know about yourself, basically. No one knows you more than you know yourself. With self-knowledge, you can realize your strengths and weaknesses. So this is important because when you're praying, okay, when you're asking for energy, when you're working inside yourself. All right. When you're doing visualization, you're working inside yourself. You're doing this inside your brain. You're conjuring up images inside your brain. Very, very important. This is almost like a godlike power, if you will, without being blasphemous, but the ability for the human to visualize some inanimate thing in their brain. I mean, a human picture or whatever. If you visualize somebody's face, that's powerful too, very powerful. But when you create something, like for instance, when I made a laser, I'd engineer a laser, I would come up with a picture of this device in my head. It would be built, and I'd know what I wanted it to look like and what I wanted it to do long before it existed. And then I'd have to put it down on paper, and I would have to visualize all the components in my head, and I would draw each single component, and I would have to come up with the dimensions of each component in order for them to assemble back together and fit properly, and with proper tolerances so that they didn't cancel each other out, and then give those pieces of paper to a machinist, and he'd sit there and bang it out, and then I'd take those pieces and put them together, and boom, there it is. You created something. That's God. That's creation. That's godlike. And this is the same power that you use in magic or Reiki or energy. Okay, because energy is of a higher level of density. We can get into density. I talk about that a lot, but I'm not going to get into it too high. But let's just say that right now we know that we mentioned the superconscious and the realm of intuition and thoughts and what have you. And suffice it to say that is a realm that is a higher level of reality that is above ours. It's not something tangible that we can see, but we are using it, and when we use our magic and our Jedi skills and our Reiki, whatever it is, we are using our human ability to manipulate reality by accessing this higher level of density, or this reality that is just above us. Okay, that is what it is. This is not voodoo. This is not demonic or spirit world. That's what it is. It is physics. It is quantum physics, but it is real. And just because most Earth humans don't understand these concepts does not make it any less real. So just accept it right now. And that's the other thing about these cultural things. Like when we talk about Reiki and we talk about all these Tantra or yoga or whatever, usually these are practices that are developed by certain cultures, and they use certain symbols and nomenclature and names to describe the phenomena related to that culture. And right away that becomes distasteful to people because they associate that culture with the information. But basically it's blind men describing an elephant, feeling different parts of the elephant. We're all describing the same thing. We're just describing it a little bit differently. So don't let these cultural things screw you up. Just because it's looks Japanese or Hindu doesn't mean it's satanic, okay, for all you Christians. And we'll talk about Christianity in relation to all this stuff too very soon. All right, rule number 8. Okay, we got 2 more, 8 and 9, but rule number 8. Happiness. Should seem self-explanatory, huh? Okay, to fully hone the powers of your psychic ability to find true happiness. Okay, the kind of happiness with unchanging peacefulness and bliss. Okay, that is elusive in material objects. Remember, like we said earlier in the Reiki stuff, you are not going to achieve happiness, peacefulness, and bliss by buying stuff. How do you get it? You do get it through helping others, serving others. That's where true happiness comes from. Now, once you have achieved all prior states of psychic awareness, you will reach true happiness. So it's when you give yourself to others. It's when you've gone through all this waking up process, and where you've let go of yesterday and today and tomorrow, and you've learned unconditional love, and you've learned to become calm, and you've learned to not get attached to your possessions, and you've learned to access your tuition and listen to the source, you achieve happiness. Okay, but remember, keep in mind, one of the earlier rules, self-control, you got to keep the negativity away from you. Okay, so you want to keep calm and happy. Ow! Damn cat just jumped in my lap. Jeez, that hurt. I'm not going to tell you where the claws went, but it hurts. Ouch. Okay, I'm happy. Happy. Ow. Okay, sorry. I'm probably bleeding. Oh, God. Okay. What self-control is that? My God, I just had this cat put its claws in my crotch, and I'm going to continue with the show. It's like nothing happened. Freedom. Okay. Lastly, once you have mastered all the other 8 pillars, oh my God, I'm looking for blood. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. You can now enter into that state in where your inner psyche is free to roam. Okay, and that's that whole thing where you're able to receive downloads. Okay, once you've done all these steps and you've achieved this level of calmness, you've got rid of the negative influences, and you've got rid of all that excessive noise, and you're learning to serve others and unconditional love, all that good stuff, then you'll find that your intuition kicks in. Remember intuition? Yeah, your intuition kicks in. You can ask questions and you will get answers because you've learned to use your intuition, and you've learned to remain calm, and you've learned to open up your mind to all this stuff. So now all you got to do is, the last thing there is to ask a question. In other words, it's like, I remember one time I had this guy, he said there was an angel in his house. You know, he had some vortex in his house or something. There was this angel hanging out there. He's like, wow, what do I do? I've got this angel here. What do I do? You know, it's like how could I get information or something useful from this entity? And I'm like, well, you could start by asking a question. It's like, they're not just going to tell you things, you know. God's not just going to say, just dump, you know, the entire Akashic records into your head. You've got to ask the questions. Now, when I went through my waking up process some 20-something years ago, that's the first thing, one of the first things that I did. You know, I had to learn certain things. You know, I had to learn the unconditional love thing. I had to learn the humility and all that stuff. But I had to also learn to ask the questions, and I had to learn to listen for the answers. But when the answers sometimes aren't necessarily little voices in your head or your intuition. Sometimes the answers can be a Google search that comes up just like, wow, that's what I wanted to see. And trust me, that's how it works. It's almost like using a search engine where you ask a question and then boom, there's an answer, and it's going to lead you in another direction and another direction, another direction, and that's the nature of the process. So information is really important because it is directly related to energy. Now remember, this whole show is about energy, and it's about using this energy and becoming a skilled master at using the energy, or the force, if you will. The force is strong with this one. If you want the force strong with you, this is what you do. You got to do all these things, and the force will be strong with you too. But I got myself lost right there. Jeez. Terry, what was I talking about before I started talking about the silly force right now?
You were talking about the freedom, and then the downloads, and you were talking about number 9. We're on the last number there. But you
almost done.
You've definitely you've done you've gotten
I
a
only
lot
got
of
2
interest
pages
in the
into
chat.
my book. You realize this?
Well, there's a lot. I'm very. I mean,
okay,
I'm
my
enjoying
Reiki
the show.
manual here is, I don't know, a couple hundred pages. I only got the first 2 pages. How are we going to do a Reiki course if it takes me 2 hours to do 2 pages?
Well, you have several shows to do. Right? I was thinking maybe with the YouTube video, it might be good to put all the first 9.
All right. Well, let me get back to it here. Okay. All right. Let's see. I noticed we've only got about 20 minutes left in the show, so I'm going to try to cram in a little bit more. But anyway, those are the 9 abilities. That's for building psychic power. And again, this is what we're all about. If you want to be a Jedi, you've got to develop your ability to use the Force, and that's how you do it. If you look at the Jedi in the movies, you'll notice that they're celibate, and of course I don't recommend that, but they're good guys, right? They live like warrior monks, they're right. They're the whole concept of a Jedi is this guy that's sort of like a monk that goes around and learns and studies. Okay, now that was the point I was trying to make right before, and I'm going to go to that real quick before I go to this next important stuff. But information and energy flow in opposite directions. So when you are passing out energy, you are talking and you are teaching somebody, the people that are listening and learning are transmitting energy directly to you. So as you are giving out the energy, you are like a sponge, or you are giving out the information, you suck up energy like a sponge. So what that means is if you want to be a powerful Jedi, you have to teach. You have to share information, because the more information you can share with as many people as possible, the more energy you're going to get back. And that's why the radio is so fun, because I get to reach a million people. I'm not supposed to use that number, but obviously if I'm getting that kind of energy from that kind of people, and that reminds me, all you listeners, I really appreciate when you guys send me energy. So if you guys want to send me some nice, powerful energy, I love it. It helps block the negative crap that I get from the haters. But anyway, so that's the important thing, is that when we talk about having an open mind, that means that you have to open it up to all this information. You can filter it, sure, but you do not exclude anything. You take it all in, and do not ever think that you have learned everything. People go to college, they get a degree, and they go, oh, well, they didn't teach that to me in college, so it must not be real. No, it doesn't work that way. Nothing is real. You have to have your mind open to everything. There is a possibility that what you think is correct today will be wrong tomorrow. So that's why you have to file all this stuff away. No matter how crazy that you think it is, or how impossible something is, you still have to store it away so that you can consider it later. So very important. Information and energy go hand in hand. All right. So do not be information prejudiced. And speaking of information prejudice, excuse me, that brings me to Christian Reiki. All right. Now, why am I talking about Christian Reiki? Okay. I have to address this issue, and this is one of the issues I address when I teach this course, because obviously people who are of the Christian persuasion say, oh, this is all satanic, blah, blah, blah. You're not Jesus. What are you doing thinking that you can using these powers? This is all satanic energy. This is, the devil and everything else. Okay. Bull crap. Okay. It is not satanic. All right. And people that think that way are just utterly small-minded. Again, there's that thing. Open your mind. Okay. Open your mind. All right. So how do we know? I'm just going to go through a couple Bible verses here to show you, just for you Bible thumpers here. I'll even give you the verse, and you can go look it up yourself. But how do we know that it's appropriate for Christians to do? Okay, in Corinthians 14:1, Paul tells us to eagerly desire spiritual gifts. Are these not spiritual gifts, trying to develop your spiritual energies and powers? This is what we're talking about, getting away from the materialism. This is spiritual gifts. This is what we're trying to develop. Corinthians 12:28, Paul says that healing is one of the gifts. Obviously, healing is a gift, and it's a gift that we give to others. Paul also says that each of the gifts is best expressed with love. Obviously, right? Obviously, everything we're talking about here is about love. In addition, Jesus is quoted in John 14:12 as saying, quote, I tell you the truth, anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing. He will do even greater things than me, because I go to the Father, unquote. What did Jesus do? He healed. What does he say here? He says, go do the same thing. Do it even more. Do it even better. Right? He's telling us to do it. Okay. Our understanding about Satan comes from the Bible. All right? If you want to believe in Satan, whatever you want to believe in about Satan, it comes from the Bible. All right? So, nowhere in the Bible do we find any instance where Satan has healed someone. Satan tempts other people to sin, but Satan does not heal people. Furthermore, in Luke 6:44, Jesus says, each tree is recognized by its own fruit. Which is to say, if something is beneficial and helps people, and the results are long-lasting, such as healing people from Reiki, then it must be good and come from God. Okay? This should be so evident. I just can't have any patience for these people that can't see that. How should Christians treat others who heal in the name of Jesus but do not have the same beliefs as one's own? Okay, in the Gospel of Luke 9:49 through 50, John says, Master, we saw a man driving out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because his is not one of us. And Jesus says, do not stop him, for whoever is not against you is for you. All right? I hope your Bible people are writing this down. All right. Well, that's as far as I'm going to go into it. I mean, there's other issues revolving the Buddhist aspects of this stuff and what have you, but the bottom line is that when you're healing somebody, and let's say you're really good at it, it's not because you are really good. You are just a channel. You're not doing any healing. The Creator is doing the healing. You are asking the Creator to allow you to do it. And then you say thank you. It's very simple. Well, I don't see any callers, and we're running out of show here. We're down to about less than 15 minutes, and nobody wants to call. All right, you guys, give me a break here. We're going to have to do another show. So if anybody wants to call and say something, now's the time. You guys in chat, I know you guys are listening. Give me a break here. Somebody call in. If you have any questions at all or anything you want me to address, or if you even want to say you like the show, just call in and give us some feedback right now. And again, I want to remind everybody that this is the Stephen D. Kelley Show, and we are on Revolution Radio at www.freedomslips.com. And I will have this up on YouTube sometime tomorrow probably, but unfortunately I can't add the pictures and what have you. Actually, we didn't really get into the heavy picture stuff. The stuff I'm getting into would be more image intensive. But the next step in this lesson, of course, and this is going to be redundant to some of you, is I want to talk about the human energy field. And in order to do that, not only am I going to talk about chakras and auras, but I'm also going to talk about toroid energy, toroid fields, and magnetic poles, magnetic fields, and the interaction with from one person to another person via their magnetic field. Now, again, like I said, that is kind of hard to do without drawings and what have you, but we'll just have to take a little bit of time to do that. But the point is that you'll see that there's a saying that comes up a lot in metaphysics, and that, and probably in religion, most religions too, but they like to say, as above, as is above, as is below, or as is above, as below, or as above, as is below. In other words, it's what is above is the same as the big is the same as the small. And the reality of that, what that really means, is that everything in reality, everything in the universe works the same way. And we do have a couple callers. Okay, we'll get into that quantum physics stuff later. Okay, let's see. I think the first one is 831. Who's that?
Jude.
Hi, Jude. How you doing?
Great. Wonderful show. I've just been spellbound and taking notes and trying to keep up with you. But, so I have a few questions and comments. Yeah, it's been
Go for it.
Awesome. So, here, let's go. When I was diagnosed with a really bad illness, and anyway, I found a book called Dowsing for Cures, so I started using the pendulum. And I've been wanting an explanation again because my brain's starting to work again, and all these great things are happening. And
you want to learn why the pendulum?
And I want to know if you can explain why the pendulum works. I know that I can stand up
Jude.
also and do body testing, and my body will go back or forward, yes or no. So there's a lot of ways we can find out and use our intuition once we get more proficient. Because I've got all that stuff down. I mean,
that's
going to the list. I was going, yeah, I've got all that almost.
All right. Well, listen, Jude. As far as the pendulum is concerned, I'm not going to get into a detailed explanation because that is part of the course, okay? So in other words, it's like, let me save that for the next show, okay?
Oh, God. Okay, I'll be waiting.
Because, no, seriously, it's like I teach pendulum.
I mean, I know it works.
Yeah, well, but
I just need to explain it.
I need to explain exactly how pendulums work. But let's just say right now that it has to do, briefly, I'm just going to say that what's controlling the pendulum is your subconscious is connecting to the superconscious, and your subconscious is what's controlling it. So, but we'll get into that in greater detail a little bit later.
And also, I wondered if the cat jumped on your lap and stayed or what. That was so ironic. I mean, that cat's a bodhisattva, you know. You had told us to take everything in and take everything in, and you were done with it, and then she did it. So I just want to know.
Yeah, well, she was.
Jump on there and jump off.
That particular cat is a little obese, and when she landed, she jumped from really high and landed with her claws. Oh my! It was not fun.
Did she stay or jump off?
No, she bounced off me and went in the other direction. There's a dog next to me. But anyway.
Jumped on you to.
Yeah, I was
really an interesting little thing that happened.
Anyway, it wasn't fun, but.
Well, it was for us.
All right. Well, anyway, the pain has gone away.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, the pain's gone
Put some aloe vera on it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the next caller. Thank you, Jude.
Bye.
All right. You got my message from earlier, right?
I don't know. I think so.
Well,
yeah, I did
you
it.
sent me
it's there. Check it out.
Yeah, you asked me a question on Facebook, so I just let you know that I answered your question.
I'm aware.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. All right, next caller. Bye-bye. 617. Who's this?
Hi, this is Werner.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I just want to let you know that I like your show.
Thank you.
And keep up your good work.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. All right.
I sent you a message a few days ago about what you thought of the Boston trial, and you told me it was a farce.
Yeah.
And I just like your comment. I don't need to talk anymore about it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I think you just joined.
When I was sitting here in Cambridge, we get bombarded with Channel 7, continuously covering the scene.
Well,
and
remember what I said tonight? You got to turn that thing off.
Right. Right. That's a good advice. All right. Good show.
All right. Hey, really, I appreciate you calling in tonight, okay? Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Anyway, we're down to just a few minutes, so let me just sort of wrap this up. If anybody wants to call in real quick and say hi, naturally, I'd be happy to let you do that. And again, real quick, that phone number is 347-688-2902. Okay, remember, Stephen D. Kelley Show is on Revolution Radio, and Revolution Radio, it's a big network run by Mike Ringley, but he works awful hard to keep this thing running. So he does need the funds, obviously, for his own life survival, as well as the equipment and everything else necessary to keep the station going and to keep this venue. So if you did enjoy the programming and you'd like to help make sure that we are able to continue having the server space and whatnot necessary to get the bandwidth so that you can listen to our program, please think about helping out, sending a buck or two, $5, whatever you can. There's all sorts of ways that you can help the channel. Obviously, you can donate your time here and get involved. I don't necessarily recommend going into chat, but I'd love to see about 1 million of my fans try to go into chat one night and have words with some of the trolls that tend to pop up. All you trolls there, when you watch out, I'm going to call my listeners to go in there and tromp you in the chat room. Ha! Anyway, but also, Revolution Radio has a Facebook page that I'd like you to join. We're about ready to hit 6,000 people, I think, on the page, which isn't a lot, but we're steady. We go up, 25 people a week or something, which isn't a huge number, but it's steady growth. I'd like to see more people join that. If you are on Facebook, go do a search for Revolution Radio or Freedom Slips and, like it. That's all you got to do. Also, if you have not done it yet, my Facebook page, I have room for about 600 people, I think, left on my Facebook page. And, of course, it's my name, Stephen D. Kelley. Now, I also have a Facebook page set up for the show, the Stephen D. Kelley Show. So, I don't really push it a lot, but it's, I think it's got about 500 people on it. But I would appreciate it, though, if you're listening, to add that show. Go like my the Stephen D. Kelley Show Facebook page. I would like that a lot. Again, I mentioned that earlier in the show. Yes, I do have a book. I don't really push it. It's not like I wrote this book to make money or anything. It was mostly just because I had to get the information out there. And so if something happens to me, it's recorded. But I would like to see some sales. It would be kind of fun. If I sell, well, I mean, the book's $7, and out of that, I think I get maybe $3. I'm not sure, but if I get enough sales to add up to $100, they'll actually send me a check. So hey guys, help me out. But it's Cities Under the Plane, okay, and it's about my life. It's an autobiography, and it's about the city under the plane. Of course, is a reference to the Getty Museum and the big underground base over here in Los Angeles. So a lot of really good information in there. Please think about getting that book. And you can download a program so you can read it on your computer if you don't want to use Kindle. But it'll help me, and it's a great lots of good information in there, and whatever it takes, right? If it helps. Also, we talked a lot about Reiki. If you really are interested, and this is not my motivation for doing the show, but if you are interested, I will put a course together. If enough people contact me and would like to become certified, because I am a Reiki master, of course, and I can certify you. I can teach you this, and you're not just going to get a piece of paper that says you're a Reiki master. I'll make sure you know what's going on and you can actually do this stuff. So if you want to take the course, get a hold of me, send me an email, contact me on Facebook. My email is, if you want to write this down, is law17gun@aol.com. And law17 is law17gun, of course, is LAW17GUN, just like it sounds. law17gun@aol.com. Send me an email. Say, yeah, I'd like to take a Reiki course, or yeah, I think you're an idiot, or whatever, whatever you want to say. Send me an email. Or, if you want my book. Oh, also, if you do get my book, if you do read it, please write a review, because a good review will prompt Amazon to actually advertise it and market it a little bit. I think if I only need like 25 good reviews, and Amazon will actually start marketing the book, which they don't do at all unless it's popular. So help me out. Read the book and go to that. My next book is actually probably going to be on Reiki, and it's not, because I have to write a Reiki book anyway, just because if I'm going to teach Reiki, I need to have a course materials. But, as with anything I do, I got to be so damn comprehensive, it's going to be a damn novel by the time I'm done. But, no, because when you learn Reiki from me, you also learn a lot more. But, that's the show. Okay, well, thank you, Terry Joyce. Thank you, the listeners. Thank you, callers. Thank you, Jude. And thank you, Revolution Radio. This is Stephen D. Kelley Show. I will be back next week. Well, good night. Yes.